Hello everybody! If you feel like your sketching is not that great or you have an idea in your mind but you cannot bring it down on paper because your sketching skill is just not that strong, then this video is right for you. In today's video I will take a really bad sketch and try to see how far AI can take it. Are we able to take even the worst sketch and turn it into a realistic concept idea that looks great, that is well designed, looks nice, and that people would actually spend money on? So if you're curious to find out, then join me on this journey. I asked ChatGPT and several others, Midjourney, several AIs to come up with a really ugly sketch. And to my surprise, actually I can show you, it was not that easy, right? Because they are trained on all the images, but I guess ugly and bad sketching is usually not the kind of tag that these images get. So even if you ask for ugly images, you get some beautiful concepts still. So here's just my exploration in Midjourney. So I used as prompt most ugly sketch of a desktop lamp. No skills, black and white background. And what I got are these really nice and cool sketches, right? So there's nothing bad or ugly about it, even these refined designs. So I had to find other ways to change my prompt to get to the results that I wanted. I think this is even a nice modern lamp, interesting cross-hatching, cool shading, perspective is right, nice contrast. I think so overall these are actually really cool sketches, right? Here's the face in there. I wouldn't say this is an ugly sketch or an ugly concept. So I just tried over and over, and this one actually came out then with a really bad sketch of an ugly desktop lamp, no skills. So I had to turn the ugly into real bad sketch, and then I also pumped up the values for chaos and weirdness really high variation, so I get like a little bit more random stuff. And we got some more, I tried some other things, right? And even this one, I think it's not a bad sketch, it's just hairy lines, but it's not like actually all that bad. So there's just like loads of concepts. This one is based on the original one that I selected. Then again, this one is also not that bad overall. I think my niece, which is, I don't know, 9, can definitely sketch on that level maybe. So yeah, I just wanted to show you the results, that even if you want to have something ugly, you might have a harder time to prompt to get a result than to actually work with it. So let's go back to Vizcom, right? So I dropped it in here. This is the sketch. And why is this ugly? First of all, maybe that's interesting. Because I also don't want to discourage anybody who feels like their sketches look like this, or they feel they're even worse, right? So I think what makes this a little bit, ugly, or let's say bad of a sketch, is just that the paper is not clean, it's messy. So that adds a lot to the overall perception. Then it feels like the perspective is just wrong. So let me add some lines here. Maybe change the color, something that we see. So we have these perspective lines here on the grid at the bottom, right? Something like this. And then you would expect this to go up in a straight line. And then it feels like this twists weirdly, that somehow it wraps around. And therefore, from a side view, let's say this is the base, then this is the central thing. And then it at one point just goes sideways. And then we have the head of the lamp here. That's how it feels to me. It's just the perspective's not right. And then what else makes it of worse quality sketch is again the hatching lines, right? So it's very just messy. There's no clear straight contours. It's a little bit hairy. The circles are like AI generated, kind of messed up circles. There's some lines here and there. And also the shading is rather rough, but there's shading, right? So I think this is interesting. So if you feel like your sketch is on this level, then we will find out if you can still get your ideas to be visualized, because this sketch still contains a lot of information, right? So it is a lamp. It's an organically shaped lamp. It has a thin, neck or main column. Then this appears to me like LEDs, and maybe this is indeed tiltable, twistable, right? So there's a lot of information here. We have a base. Yeah, is this the reflection of the LEDs on the surface that would tell us something about the materiality? Or is this supposed to be some sort of texture on top? I'm not sure. We will see how AI interprets these symbols and signals. But for now, I would say what we could do to help us in Vizcom is use the magic eraser, right? Just to fix some of the issues. So I just sketch over the things here so they don't become distractive. It's processing, right? So I do multiple, so I can do several at once and just process in one go instead of do it all over again. And maybe we remove this part here. All right, erase. Also interesting, the description it has, it's a surreal, organic shaped desk lamp with a bulbous base and a curved neck, appearing to be made of a translucent, textured material. I'm not sure why it supposes it's translucent. I don't really read that from this material, but all right. Okay, so that's the first step, right? Then we can go to the adjust panel in Vizcom and we can remove the background. I'm curious if it works, if it's capable of removing the background, because the contours are not as clean, right? But I think I approve of this. So if we hide everything, then this is now the sketch already cleaner, right? So now let's go to the, is it this one? Modify, mode, instant render. Yeah, that's the one that I'm looking for, line sketch. And now I just go to instant render line sketch and say, generate 4 line sketches of this idea. And they will be already elevated compared to the original output. And if you have a reference sketch, you can also take this one. Let's see if I find one quickly. That could be interesting and test how that works together as well. I will drop in this image as a style reference. It's a sketch that I copied from Marco Mazzone. Check him out on Instagram. Really great sketching style. So I wanted to see if I can mimic his style to learn more of the dynamic. Also the shading and hatching I really love the way he does it, right? Yep, and then we generate 4 more with the reference now, all right? In the meantime, we can already check out the first results of the other one, right? So here we have now a similar sketch as our original, just cleaned up a little bit. Like the contours are much more clean, but the basic idea is still maintained within, right? It's still understood the twist. You have alternatives here, where the bottom is more of a texture, rather than, yeah, here it's also subtle texture, I suppose. So I think the line sketch is interesting because it also gives you 4 different alternatives of how to read the sketch. Let's look at the 4th opportunity here. All right, this alien style. I think I go for the first one. I feel like this looks most natural. I really like the way the top was represented here, and I would suggest that this is more or less what the original sketch artist had in mind. Just I take this freedom now, right? Because, yeah, well, maybe there's even this part here, like an additional outline where the field of LEDs is contained in, but we can also add multiple ones, right? And still work together and combine things. And now let's look also at the one with the reference sketch. All right, cool. It definitely took the color and did some really nice shading. So even here, you see, let's just put in your own sketch if you feel like it's not up to par with the professional sketch. Put in a nice reference and then let AI help you out with it. I think this is now already much more interesting to look at. Yeah, I like it actually. I'm curious now which one I should take. This one, maybe let's take this one too. Yeah, I'm thinking if I can maybe combine several of them. Okay, let's duplicate this one and then I will erase parts out of it. Let's increase the size. And also I'm now using the desktop version without my tablet. So I only have to use the mouse for these things. So it might be a little bit strange. But okay, I can live with that. Actually, let me just paint it in white. So that may be also good, even if you don't have a tablet, right? Even if with your mouse, you just have to take some time and you can edit your image just the way you would with a pencil. It's just maybe a little bit slower and takes more time. All right, so let's say this is our lamp. Yeah, I think, yeah, as a designer, I would say I would remove the details at the bottom, but I suppose if it's in the sketch, it has to mean something, even though the sketch is AI generated, right? But I'm assuming that this is supposed to mean something. I make some of these things buttons. But maybe I can actually turn this into some sort of texture. Yeah, this looks also not bad. Let's see if I can overlay that one. So I think you already see that there is a lot you can do with the sketch. And then I would go to the canvas and let's make it a square. Yup. And now we can go to the workbench, right? Okay. So this is now our lamp. And now what do we want to do? We can explore, maybe we can also go back, and there's next stages, right? So the instant render actually is interesting because it also allows you to go through the different stages. First you have a line sketch, then you do color blocking, highlights and shadows, and then realistic. So let me just go through these again and show you the progression, right? And just for your information, at the moment I am using the paid version because ever since I did the Zellerfeld competition, I feel like it's actually worth upgrading. With the upgraded model and skills available here, you can achieve a lot. I think it's really paying off if you do design work, right? Okay, so this is now the color shaded option. I think interesting. Then we have the realistic renders already. Also interesting. Oh no, these were highlights and shadows, right? Highlights and shadows. So this is basically also like a clay representation, right? And then we have the realistic render already. That fast, we go from A to B. Interesting. So it does have included the translucent part here. Made this even a speaker or something. So now we would have to know what exactly the idea was, right? We added some cables. Maybe that's already enough for you to be happy. I think we could make this a little bit cooler. I've been out of my mind, I have lived in this world that's divided by the differences. So this is the fun part, right? Now you can explore a little bit, try to find ways to visualize your ideas that you had for that concept specifically. All right, now I looked up some references for specific parts of the lamp that I want to change according to the reference, right? So once again, maybe we take this sketch because I think, yeah, it's still a good one. Make it a little bit bigger. Let me take the references. And now we go here and do modify again, describe. And let me plug in all the rest as well. So you can plug in up to 4 images at a time. Right, and then we say square, and now we make some output. And now I want to check if it will apply actually to the parts that I'm asking it to apply. Maybe we should be more iterative instead of doing it all in one prompt. But because we can refer to the individual images in the prompt here, I'm curious if that also works. Actually, it translated the ideas in a way, right? Maybe I think we should do more refining. Let's try to do iteratively. Just change one thing at a time so we can be more precise in our prompting. All these violent events make no sense and I'm lost, cause I know we're all one in the end. It's amazing. Oh, how could I hate it? Oh, there's a light inside us, deep down. Yes, this is cool because it also kept the sketch style of the original, which I like. This is even better because we still have our separation here clear. All right, so we move on with this one. We're good. There's a light inside us. This world is so good. There's a light inside us. Deep down, we're good. Now I'm curious because I think it's cool if I want to keep the style first and apply the colors and materials at a later stage rather than having parts of it now realistic material. And it took it literally. But I can live with that still. Because I think it's good enough for us to be able to move on with it even though we have two different styles now in one image. You can also try and say, keep the style a line drawing like in image 1. What I find funny now, it added this line here, right? The separation to the neck instead of like completely integrated organically. But that's actually a realistic engineering consideration. These parts, they have some sort of connection mechanism that needs to be embedded into a part. So there is probably a thicker section somewhere. You cannot just organically grow out of it. You need some custom part to work with the base. Okay, cool. Yep. Okay, so we take this guy. Or shall we change expressions, right? Let's do one happy. Let's do one silly. Infatuated. I mean, what kind? Surprising. Okay. Angry. What could be an emotion that this lamp might want to evoke in us with its textures and patterns? Say amazed. Okay, so this is happy. Basically, the original lamp is apparently happy. Silly. So you got dancing, revolving. Infatuated. So they really turned this into a shower head thingy. Surprised, nothing really changed. Amazed, we have a awe at the top. So these are just explorations, right? I think I would still stick to this one because I feel like that's the most interesting and most close to the intent, design intent, which is not existing, right? So let's move on and give it materials now. Modify, describe. Okay. Render this sketch realistically with matte black main color, a translucent base, and a, yeah, how do we do the head? I'd also say metallic head, white background. This is always really cool to see because it immediately comes to life somehow. So yeah, we have the metallic top, translucency really well. Now I want to do some color adjustments here. We have some Vizcom palettes included already, right, that you can use and you can still adjust afterwards. So this is now the black standard version, but maybe we want a, I don't know, soft pink, and we kick out a few of them and generate an option of this lamp with a new color palette, right? I think actually I would want to add a layer behind the pattern here so you cannot grip through. But it's actually cool, right? I think this is now a really interesting alternative. Let's do the same thing for baby blue. So maybe it's for children. This looks now more like a plastic, which is also fine, right? Less heavy, more child appropriate, I would say. Let me try this again then. I will duplicate so we don't lose the original one. And on here, I will take a brush and color in these parts that I want to be metallic. I think one of the benefits of Vizcom is that it integrates the Photoshop-like capabilities of editing an image with the AI in a good way, right? So if you use Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever other software AI, you can probably do the same thing if you switch between Photoshop and the AI that you're using. But here you have it all in a single package that works well. Also the workbench, the way everything's arranged, you can iterate through the process. Okay, change the red colored sections of the base into a metallic material. Now I try different prompts to see which one achieves the best results. But this is basically what I was wondering if it can do, and it even added, let's say, some radial brush. That's the one. That's the one. Now actually the weird thing from the sketch looks like it's trying to create some dynamics, right? So now it's not that strange anymore. Now it's actually playing into the character of the lamp, which is a playful bendable lamp, and that shows in the image because of the initial sketch that we had. So now let me show you something. I will take my brush again, and let's see what size we have, and I will go like this. Now I will say adjust the neck of the lamp to follow the red path. All right, it worked really well. 3 times the charm. Even added another one. I think now the character is really coming out. The strength also of this concept. Here we see what I mentioned before, that if you keep it original proportioned aspect ratio, then it will consider the second image much stronger. Also cool. A little bit strange, but cool. All right, this is going really wild and really wild and really wild. So this seems to be the better approach for this kind of thing. Take this friend and maybe want to create some different views, right? So I would say we have a front view. Let's do batch. Front view, top view. Then we go here, rear view, right view, and a top left. Okay, and now we generate. Okay, we have also interesting new views. More of the top, more of the front, of the back. I think these work really strong. Okay. So here we see the lamp in action, right? I think this is really nice image actually. We have the band, we have an interesting lighting. And now we will add some extra context. You can also do exactly like enlarge and extend. So now it will fill in the gaps. And let's see. I think that works pretty good, right? So if you compare it, it did a really good job in extending. So we add this. And now we go back to the workbench and we want to animate. So I will do the reverse animation now because she's sitting. That's my starting frame. I will get her to get up and turn off the light. All right, let's have a look. It's so cute. They really actually made her do that in a funny way. I love it. All right, that was it. Now I showed you that even with like really bad sketch, you can get to a result that is convincing, that sells the concept, the idea. You can adjust things along the way to improve on the original sketch and still maintain recognizability with the original intentions and come up with something that communicates your ideas, your thoughts, your design well to others. Bring it to life with animations and renders. So I hope this video helps. If it did, follow, like, and subscribe. See you around. Thank you very much.